the railway station at Matlock Bath, where we day out the party from Courtaulds, and we stayed for the first 2 or 3 hours at Bath before going up the tramway museum at Critch. This is the old railway station. It's only a single track. Sometimes they use it for steam days, but it's a nice building, one of the old buildings. We didn't see any steam trains, but I did see a diesel one. And of course it's close by to the chairlift, which takes you to the heights of Abraham. Once again, we didn't go up there. There's a lot of things up there for children, etc. I wouldn't mind you go just for the ride on the ski chair, but wasn't to be. They don't let you go up there just for the ride. You've got to pay the full amount and go up there as if you're going to enjoy all the amenities. The cars seem to go up in threes, quite quickly I might add, and as 3 go up, another 3 are coming down. That's what they look like from the station. You see how high you're going. Quite high up. So we'll have a look at this one coming in. Quite a lot of noise in this area as well. Actually, they're quite nice looking cars, cable cars. Never seen any like this before. You get 3 people in that end and another 3 in this end. It's 3 of you, of course. I didn't notice the bloke wearing any earmuffs, but with that noise going on all day while he's in there, I think he has got some. Yes, he has not. So that's what it's like at the chair station. It costs about £5.75 to go up and experience all what's up there, but alas, we didn't go. You probably need a whole day to spend and enjoy the things that's up there. They tell me you can walk up there, but I never saw the way to do that. Not that I'd want to anyway. Certainly my wife didn't want to go up there, even in the cable car. So it was right interesting looking round the cable car station. And there's the directions to the tramway museum, but first of all we're having a look around Matlock Bath. Been here before many years ago, and I can't remember much about it, to be honest. But we spent our time looking around before going for a meal. And then it was time to catch the coach. Quite a busy place, plenty of traffic zooming through, loads and loads of motorcyclists. There were loads of motorbikes around. Whether it was sort of a motorcycle event, I don't know, but there was a crew, a film crew, filming them. You see how high the cable cars are from the floor, from the ground level. It's got a nice river going all the way round, and there's some very nice walks to be had along the river banks. One of the very old bridge. My wife's there, pointing. What to? Ah, a little duck. Yeah, we saw some of those. My wife had some biscuits with her, and she was throwing the bits in for the ducks to have something to eat. But I rather liked it, really. It was quite a nice little place. Perhaps we could have seen more of it had we had more time. It's a nice old bridge that. There's one or two bridges across that little river. And of course, there's supposed to be boats allowed on it, but I didn't see any. There was notices saying no boats beyond point. But there's quite a lot of hilly areas and houses on top of the hills. When she's not bothered, she should have feed the ducks. On the other side of the river we saw this old bandstand. It was built in the 1800s. It looked like it was falling to bits. Opened by Mrs. C.A. Peters, 1899. So it's 100 years old, and it looked like it. So maybe they're doing it up. They've got some scaffold up there, but it ought to be done up really. And along this path is a bit of woodland, and there's a nice wooded walk all the way back to the car park, which means climbing up. But we stopped to look round at some of the nature, and we spotted this coot in the water, and somewhere behind it was a little baby one. Of course there wasn't much light because of the trees. There's an old nest, whether it's their nest or whether it's an old swan's nest, because they seem to build them like that. But there's the coot and the baby coot paddling in the shallow waters. And it was shallow in places. In fact, it didn't even come to the banks. There's a path that takes you back to the station, but it's a fairly steep climb along Lover's Lane, or Lover's Walk I think they call it. And there's some people up there going to stagger up there in a minute. There they go. But we didn't bother. You get motorbikes in the distance. So it's quite a pleasant walk along the bank there. And there's some houses in the background where the railway station is, because that's where we are now. We've moved back to the railway station because it's nearly time to catch our coach to take it on to Critch. The houses seem to be piled upon each other. And the car parks were absolutely full. There's people looking for places all the time. There's our coach, a couple of coaches for us. The Appleby's coaches are ours. And there's the two drivers waiting for us to all return, and then we can get off to Critch. So that was a nice look round Matlock Bath. One last look at the tram cars before we go. Not the tram cars, the chair lifts or whatever they call them. So that's Matlock Bath, and we're in the museum at Critch now. Some very old coaches on view inside, and some old trams. People milling about showing an interest. Sometimes they're in that condition when they get them. And there's the chassis of one of them. And of course, with a bit of effort and a bit of care, it can be transformed as new. It's remarkable what they can do. Inside the sheds, they've got trams from all over the place. Birmingham, Liverpool, Scotland. And there's a green tram there. And at the back of it, there's an old tram from Grimsby, the Immingham tram. We'll have a look at that later on. I didn't actually know it was there until later on, but we're having a look round the shed first, and we'll come back to it later. But had a few trams running. This was the last tram to run from Sheffield. And of course it started to rain as we got there. So you pay, once you've paid your money to get in, you get, they give you a penny, an old penny, and you present that to the conductor and they give you a ticket which enables you to ride on the trams as many times as you like. So if there was 3 or 4 trams running, you could take a ride on one, come back on the other, and so forth. You can get off at any of the points along the track. It isn't a very long ride, but it's built around an old quarry. It doesn't look as if it's changed that much since the days when I first went there. I thought they would have extended it by now, but it doesn't seem to have been extended to me. So here we are back in the main throng of it all. That's the tram that we're on, and this is the end of the line, and you get off and it moves up into this portion here, and there's people standing there in the rain waiting to board it for another trip back. First of all, they've changed the poles. There's an old printing press in here, and it's very dark in here. It's a really struggle to get some pictures, but it was a nice old printers. I don't know whether they actually work. It is worked under gaslight in there as well, the old gas lamp, but I don't know whether it's working during the daytime, because we're there on a Sunday and some of the places there weren't even open, little shops and that. There's a cafe up those steps up there. There's a pub being built over there with a scaffold there, so perhaps next time if we ever go it'll be open. This is a very old telephone box. Can you remember when you press button A and button B? That's the tram that we just come back on, and it's going out again now. Only about 3 trams running all the time, the same 3. That one there, and the Sheffield one, and the single decker. There's an old police box here, remember these? Here comes the last tram from Sheffield again. But back to the old police box. Remember these? You open the door, and there used to be a loudspeaker, and there's a telephone in that one. But I remember opening the door, there used to be a loudspeaker. That's inside the hut itself. We're back in the queue. Ready to get on the tram for another ride. There's the poles being changed from the journey in to the journey out. There's a happy little chap here, the conductor. They are, look, 2nd to the 8th of October 1960, that was the last tram that ran. I must say the staff are all very friendly, and they give you a talk about it on the tram. And off we go back to the other end. I seem to know these people there. There's me filming through the glass at the conductor, clicking his tickets. So we got off at this point, and the tram carried on to the end of the run, which is only just a few more yards up there really. You can get off at any point, and I think there's a viewing platform up here where you can get higher up. There's one of the old waiting rooms there, and another old dilapidated wagon. And there's a shop or two around there, and a few things to see. And up there where them people is on the right, that's an area where you can go up and have a look, take a different view. It's called the Wakebridge View, and that's the view from the top.
just get it right, otherwise just turn to the side of it and you get the side off.
There's the Sheffield tramp we got off coming back in.
Right, get ready.
Some people at the side of me taking photographs and getting some instructions from Dad.
About now.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on, put the too far off.
That's the single tram, the single decker in the background there. Never went on that myself. But the lovely old trams, these. Very good condition, that one, very good condition. There's a single decker coming back. That's also in good condition.
Down, please, you want to climb on board.
You want to climb on board. What's it? You can get to them. Just get on the gun and show me.
You really need a nice day. It wasn't too bad. We got a few showers, but you really need a nice day. It all seems to be happening all at once here. They have to take that ring, otherwise the other tram can't pass that point. So they usually leave it hanging on a hook, but in this occasion the girl actually picked it up from the driver as he went past. That's an old Liverpool, no it's not Liverpool, it's Southampton post box. Well, there comes the last tram again, and when it gets up there and comes back, we'll be getting on it to go back to the terminus. Meanwhile, I'm nearly getting run over here by another tram. Just got out of the way in time. Back in the other place at the end, where all the trams are, this is the old Indian one, which I spoke about earlier on, in the tram shed. But it's been painted green. So there's the tram sheds. And one last look. The weather seems to have brightened up now. So that was our visit to Critch and Matlock Bath.